Hi.
Hi, Barbara.
Hey.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi all. How are you? I'm sorry I'm so busy at the moment. It's a bit crazy.
No, everybody is busy at this moment. I don't know why.
It's the end of the year. It's the end of the year that is killing us. I don't know.
I like your background images.
Thank you.
Very cool.
But there is very Asian style, right?
I mean,
No?
it's like a Korean thing that I found in an exhibition. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to introduce my colleague, Su Young Lim.
Hi, Barbara. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
She is co-organized the exhibition with me in Ansong area. Actually, now we open a new venue out of the Seoul.
Oh, congratulations.
Not really. Actually, the building is abandoned for 20 years.
Oh, and are you renovating it or like how is it going?
Only the cleaning. We don't have enough budget for the renovation, but we clean the space and we have an exhibition. It's kind of the Bergen Assembly 2019 Korean version.
Nice.
So yeah, we invite the curator from Germany, the Hans de Christ, the Iris Dressler, and the Victor Newman. The Suyang is working with me for that huge exhibition. Now we are preparing for the show at Total Museum.
Good. Lots of work.
Yeah.
As you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like you're going to be full on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult to organize, fix the date because every curator has a big project. They are very busy.
Yeah, it's this problem because everything got cancelled last year. Now it's like,
yeah, right.
All at once.
And I was like, I've never been so busy, basically. It's been insane. Like, yeah. But
And
anyway.
congratulations on your new title at
Thank you.
CSO, right?
Yeah.
Can you introduce a bit about the space? Actually, I remember the place because I visit there, the gallery.
Yeah. So CO Berlin is like private museum, which is kind of weird in the context of German, like ecology of institutions. And is traditionally was always dedicated to photography, and now they are opening this new kind of part of branch, which is going to be CO Digital, which is a new platform that looks at the future of lens-based media and like while rooting at the same time with the tradition that was accomplished before. And instead of like looking into exhibitions, what we're going to do is like create a commissioning program. There's going to be like a incubator program for digital artists. And then together with that, we're developing like public program only. So it's like a process of like production of digital works and mediation of digital works only. So we shift a little bit of the focus from the exhibition outcome to what happens before, to like basically try to engage a bit of a different audience that we get usually, which is a bit traditionally because it's like really photography, really like basic. So with this new branch, we're gonna reach kind of different audience, and then we wanna try to mediate this what is digital production nowadays, and like how and when and how new forms of engagement and blah blah. So this is what we're working on now. I'm now the curator of this new venue, digital venue, let's say, and we are starting as like really now. So tomorrow I'm deciding who's the designers of the new platform. That's why I'm so busy now. And like the things rolling really quickly, and then the ideas start already with programming in April. So yeah.
Actually, Suyang studied in Germany when she was young.
Oh, really? Oh, you can't hear you.
I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I lived in Düsseldorf for 5 to 6 years. I went to an international school there when I was middle and high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Germany feels very close to me and dear to me, actually.
Nice.
She's also looking for a job at Europe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been looking for some time.
So you're gonna move here, or is it like Or
Yeah, I mean, if opportunity arises, definitely something I am considering. As much as I like Seoul, I'd like to be, working in different places.
nice. Cool. Well, I'll let you know if I hear from anything.
Well, thank you.
Okay, actually, today is a brief meeting about our talk. The talk
Yes.
is also very casual. Then, for example, the Victor, the co-curator of the Dead and Dead Soul project, he just talk only 30 minutes without any presentation in the images. The reason that I organized this project is because of the COVID-19. There's a lot of international programs canceled or the delayed, postponed. So it would be great to have a short talk. So what is the curator's focus and what is curatorial practice? In general, we know each other, but we don't know every project that we organized. That is also the good opportunity to listen carefully about what you are doing. So in that context, it's not the heavy curatorial talks. Just to give a short keyword. And then what is your focus on when you curate the project? So I think actually the Barbara was in Gwangju as a research project. So that white noise kind of, is it right that I correctly remember?
White papers.
Yeah, papers. I always confused.
Yeah.
But I remember the white.
Yeah. White noise is actually nicer now I think about it.
That one is also very interesting. Actually, we are preparing the show, the project exhibition at Total Museum, but everything is crazy because of pandemic issues, and it's not easy to gathering the budget. So actually, we keep trying to get the budget for the project realization in Seoul. But the other issues that you suggest about your PhD, that also is very interesting. It will be also great to have a short introduction about that.
Okay, so the idea would be to talk about a little bit my curatorial approach. So this kind of thing about curatorial activism that I call, or whatever that means. I could focus on the white papers on dissent that I did in Gwangju, which is about digital activism, which is a lot of research, which we could go over it, it's fine. But also it's a bit weird to talk about with Koreans about their own history. I always have the feeling that, or we can focus on this like the version that I've done in Fanave Museum, which was a month ago or something, which was about the social uses of blockchain technology. So like how blockchain actually becomes a form of digital activism and what type of new forms of like social coordination is developing, and the role of artists working with that. So that was a lot of like, it was like all public programs or discursive events and like lots of workshops and performances and these kind of things. So that's what I could also talk about that, whatever you want.
Actually, now I'm working with the coin company in Korea. They'd like to launch the project about NFT, but the NFT also has a various type of the project. It's not only the images, but also they can edit blockchain and the AI and the metadata, etc. So I'm really curious how I can develop those kind of issues. And also before that, we shortly discussed about the blockchain is not only the selling art piece, but also there are many opportunities. So I'm wondering, so what kind of the topics, the themes or the stories that you have from that Barnaby museums?
We use like, so it focuses much more, so this is actually my PhD, right? I mean, it's like how blockchain becomes actually a tool for radical imagination rather than actually just a technology. So it's like how the technology enables us to think of the future differently, and like how we conceive new forms of organizing otherwise, thanks to the technology, because the technology have this affordance, like smart contracts So like, how do you organize in a decentralized autonomous organization, which is a DAO, that actually enables new forms of governance, and like how that potentially could transform the way that we socially organize. And of course, artists do very playful ideas of like this, no? So like collaterally, this transforms the idea of value, like thinking of value in non-market terms. And like, if we think about this notion of value without thinking about capital, then this makes new forms of organizing. So normally we organize based on money issues of like exchanges. What happens if we take that away? And then it's like, then you could like show like the technology actually enables us to make visible things like care labor or social, like conflict management or social innovation. So it becomes a new type of social technology, let's say. And in the work of like that I did at FANAVE, it was basically a lot of panel discussions, talking with a lot of experts about the topic. And then like we did the workshops, which was led by artists, that it was like embodying these alternative forms of organizing. So like thinking as the technology would already exist. And then it was a lot of LARPing. So live action role playing with that. So yeah, that was basically.
But actually there is one artist group in Korea. They also have a project with the blockchains, but normally it's kind of the 은유가 영어로 뭐지? It's kind of the metaphor. It's not really blockchain technology used, because the technology is not quite open to the private or the artist, individual artists. That's the reason that I work together with the company. The company has a technique and they have engineers, but without collaboration, only the making moving images or the small digital images. So how do you think about the handling those kind of heavy or the critical technology?
I mean, of course, this unravels a complete different structure of thinking, no? Like, how do we, like, the thing, of course, is like grounding in collaboration. So the artists that I'm working here in Berlin, they actually, they are developers themselves. So they actually know how to build the technology. Or they are designers or architects that actually do have a strong background in technology, and then they do it by themselves. Actually, if you put this together in like one of these like mega structures, like, I mean, this also became really expensive, because now gas in Ethereum has become so expensive. Years ago, it wasn't the case. So like now for doing a transaction, it's like, oh, I'm paying also for my transaction that is going to give me money at the end. It's like, doesn't make any sense. I mean, at the same time, there's alternatives. We don't have to do it with Ethereum, but I think it's like, some people think that blockchain is one blockchain. It's blockchains, it's called S, and like the myriad of opportunities are immense. And there's also a lot of like, I mean, like this, as when people say that there's a lot of anti-hegemonic discourse about blockchain. So the only problem is to find them. And the idea is, of course, to be very critical with technology. At the end, surprisingly to me, for this project, is everyone that I was in the table. So I invited almost like 15 people, like from activists to artists to, and then at the end, everyone wondered, do we really need technology for this? You know, at the end, social organizing happens with people, not like, not in this like terrain, but I mean, for certain opportunities, certain concepts work better with blockchain if you are thinking about transnational coordination, and like these communities do function better, but we're really not there yet. The technology actually itself is not like prepared for like sustaining this amount of people. So like now at the end, we only focuses on these like NFTs because it's actually really easy. This is just like, when you make a JPEG, you put it in the metadata on an NFT, and then like you mint it, doesn't cost you anything, or like the fees that like now the, I don't know, foundation or whatever you're working with, and that's it. But I mean, the technology is much more. It's just really reductive. It's like thinking about the technology only as Bitcoin. Well, like technology is has much more potential.
Do you have many artists with the blockchain technology?
I have some, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean,
this
idea, more as you said, no, like more people that are actually using the technology to think through it rather than, you know, like it's more as a tool. Like technology is not there in the many cases. And then of course there's like more between artists and activists that are like, for example, Circles in Berlin that works, like actually they are developing technology and they are creating a universal basic income based on an app on blockchain, and then you have to subscribe or something. That does work. And that's like an intermediate thing between activism and artists working with that. More in an artistic practice itself, I know of a lot of artists that like work with it, like Black Swan, for example, that base it like very much in like embodying this thing. So like they use LARP, like live action role playing, and at the end, all the performances that they do become like somehow very long lasting like games where you embody these practices. So yeah.
I'm just curious why you are so focused on the digital activism. Is there any specific episode or the time? I mean, because most of the project that you suggest is about activism, right?
Most of them, yeah. I mean, I have like, the thing is like, my background, I'm from Spain. This is like, we're combative people, like we need that. And like, I mean, when it's like I've been to so many demonstrations already when I was a kid, and like this, like I've always been very politically engaged. I always turn to go to these ideas because I think it's more interesting. Also, I think as of now with blockchain, I think it's more interesting now to talk about it because there's still an influence time of agency, so we still could change something. Because I mean, we fuck up already the previous internet that we have, and we still have another chance. So the idea is like, how do you think something? I'm really also interested in this like speculative ways of approaching reality now, and I think like a lot of artists is actually working with that, and it's easier when you have new technologies to do so. The technology becomes only a tool, no? Like it's like before it was painting to imagine something, and now it's just the imagination is channeled through new forms of technology, I think. So the digital activism is all of my, like, at the core, my soul, Spanish.
Yeah, actually, these days in Korea, everybody talk about the metaverse, NFT, and the VR, the whole the fancy technology terms is around, but not that many critical discourse. That is quite. I mean, for me, it's really disappointed in those kind of the symposium or the event when they always present the technology itself. They don't talk about the behind and what is possibility. For example, the NFT or the metaverse, they have a good point somehow, but also for me, it's really dangerous because a lot of the big companies, mega capitalists already go in. So there is opportunity, but we cannot realize they already spread out all the things. So how we can resist, how we can find another good point or the positive part, for sure. When we when the blockchain comes up, there's a kind of the democratic society or the totally different system of the economy. But nowadays it's also captured by the mega capitals. So I mean, the digital activism is quite important in that sense. So that's the reason that I'm really happy to, if you have a presentation about your talk, and also we have an opportunity to apply the grant, the international project for next year. And there is two possibility. One is for the research project, and the other is for the realization of the exhibition. So I'm sure the blockchain is a hot topic for our government agency also. So it might be good to have a review of your project, and then we practically think about how we can manage to realize that project in Korea.
I mean, I would love to. The thing is, it is really intangible, let's say. It's like the project, I mean, doing it like it can be an exhibition type. Like it doesn't work as an exhibition unless we're gonna do a very boring exhibition, no? Like a bit like, you know, research and tables and like, but that doesn't make any sense when you're talking about blockchain. I think like the model that we had at FANABE it was not ideal, and now I've learned from it also, and I will do something a bit more like participatory, I think. But there will also be this kind of like, this is actually because I'm going to Singapore in January, and I'm doing this, and it's all going to be just participatory events, because I think it's like, so how to think is, at the end, the technology for me is just a way of talking about new ways of doing social engaged art. It's just like the technology, like the way of engaging people, communities now has changed, and now you did digital tools, and like it also permits you to think of other ways of thinking of like, how do we want to organize together, or how do we think of the future together? So yeah, perhaps it doesn't really make an exhibition. Not like
but somehow
I can make you a lot of public programs
kind
about
of the mixture. So like an example, how they can be realized as an art piece, because sometimes after long discussion and nothing happened, and when I go to bed, it's kind of the not good feeling. So maybe the brochure is not, it is not easy to change somehow, but not only the discourse, but also some kind of act is also very important. That's true. In this context, I said there's many different realization. The visual presentation also sometimes is a big impact to the audience, not only the discourse. So we might think about which form is good for those kind of topics.
I mean, it's all like this needs of a long research and like long way of engaging with artists. I think it's like it all works a bit commission based now, because there's not that many people. Like I have the feeling that now, after doing my PhD on this, I know everyone, and we are less than 30 people in the world. So it's like, it's really minimal. It's not a lot of people.
The host for the Singapore project in the present.
There's Singapore Art Museum.
Sam,
yeah.
I love to go.
Well, it's January.
Yeah, because actually we are planning to go to the Germany in January.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to see the
What in
exhibition.
January is the terrible weather.
I know. But actually the deadline at the Stuttgart version and in the January. So we'd like to see the exhibition. The Belgian project is go to the Stuttgart and the Korea. So before, maybe the last minutes, I changed my mind. I asked Suyong, let's go to the Singapore.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice weather and nice food.
I was gonna say this message, like, remember that food is really good. So this is like a top highlights for me. And on the top, I'm gonna do the project. So food and home, like good weather, which is perfect for like escaping January in Germany, which is terrible. So that's basically my end goal. And I mean, I was also thinking about going to Korea, because I also have another project in Seoul in May. So I was thinking about going, but then it's like, it's impossible. At SEMA.
SEMA.
Yeah. And but the problem is like, it's impossible to get to Korea now. I have to do this 2-week like quarantine.
No need.
But like they told
you can apply for a quarantine exemption before you travel to Seoul. So in that case, you wouldn't have to quarantine for 2 weeks. That's how we're bringing in this Victor in this time.
Oh, and how do I get that? Like, it's just like, I want an exception and that's it.
Yeah, so like SEMA, the inviting institution would have to file in, would have to support you, but it's not as complicated as it was before. So by May, I'm pretty sure that you will have high chance to just come to Seoul.
I was hoping to go to in May, definitely. I mean, I have to go. So, but I was thinking about January, and I was thinking like, oh, the weather is gonna be bad. Like maybe there's more when the weather is bad. I mean, it's like there's gonna be more COVID, basically. Like in Germany now, it's crazy. Like,
yeah, I heard.
It's like this is the end of the world here. Like, it's insane, because in all the countries in the world, like now the numbers are going low, but here it's like No one wants to get the vaccine and going up, and like no one's doing anything. Everything is open. No one was with face mask. It's insane. It's like this array. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
definitely do look into the option of having the quarantine exempted with the support of the institution.
I will look into this for sure. Yeah.
I'm sure the SEMA can help you, but if you need any support, and then just call me, and then we can also help to get the paper. I mean, to send the paper to the agency.
Nice. I will think about it. Let's see, because I'm still a bit like, I'm gonna be there in Singapore from, I think it's the 3rd of January until the 2nd week of February. And I was thinking if I could extend another extra week, and then I will go to Korea for a week and come back to Berlin. But since I have a new job, and I started a new job and I left, and I'm leaving for a month, then it feels like a bit that I'm leaving. Let's put it this way. I don't want to burn my contacts already the first my first year of experience, so I've had to see still a little bit.
Okay, so do you have any question to Barbara?
Yes, which day is good for you?